Let's move on to the structure and breathing mechanism of a fish. Now, before we move into structure and breathing mechanism, let me ask you, have you tried buying a fish before? What do you look for? So let's say this is the fish body. Yep, this is the fish body. Usually, how do you select a fish? Well, probably you go for the eye, right? The eye has to be fresh. The eye has to be fresh. And besides that, what do you look for? You check that all the fins are there. Yeah. And the most important one, you will lift this part up, right? This part of the fish is known as the operculum. Operculum. When you lift it up, we will see a structure that looks like this. And it should be blood red in color. Yep, blood red in color, and it indicates that the fish is fresh. This is what we call the gills. Alright, and when we talk about the structure and breathing mechanism of fish, we have to talk about the gills. So let me magnify the gills. When I take out the gills basically look like this. There is this zigzag tiny bone here. We can call this zigzag tiny bone as the gill arc. The gill arc. And what does it do? What does this zigzag tiny little bones do? It filters. It filters the water. Yeah, because in the habitat of the fish, whenever they inhale, they will take in a lot of water. And in the water, there might be sand, right? And we cannot allow the sand to scrape past the gills because gills are very fragile. The gills will get injured. Yep, so that is a gill arch that looks like a comb. That's why you also can call this the gill comb. Yeah, gill comb. It filters the water that go past the gills. And this is the gills. Yeah, this is the gills. When I further enlarge this structure, it will look like this. Yeah, let's say I cut it sideways and I put it under the microscope. This will be the gill arch, right? Or what we call the bony arch. Also can, or you can call it the gill comb. Let's just call it the gill arch. And they have this blood red structure, right? This blood red structure will form up the gills. And this blood red structure is known as a filament. Filament. The fish gills are made up of a pair of filament. And for a typical fish, they have 4 pairs of filament forming the gill structure. And if I enlarge the filament, say I enlarge one of them, it actually looks like this. Yeah, it's not smooth. It looks like this. And this structure is known as the lamella. Lamella. So the whole thing is known as the filament. And on the filament, you see plates. And the plates are known as the lamella. Okay, if plural, we put another E at the back. Lamella. And these are the structure that will help the fish to breathe. And this actually provides a very good condition for the fish to breathe. Why? Because of its large surface area. The branching of the filament into lamella will create a large surface area, and this will increase the efficiency of gaseous exchange in the fish. And the membrane of the gill filaments is also very thin, and this is good. It allows the absorption of respiratory gases into the blood capillaries. And the filaments are also supplied with a large network of blood capillaries. capillary. So when you check whether you want to buy the fish or not, you check the gills and it should be blood red in color. And this large network of blood capillary, it will actually provide a platform for efficient exchange as well as transport of respiratory gases. And the gill filaments are always in water, right? Because fishes live in water, so it's always moist, so it can enable respiratory gases to dissolve in them. Yep, they have fluid, so diffusion of gases can occur easily. Okay, and now let's take a look. How does the fish breathe? Okay, are you ready? Yep, let's talk about inhalation. Now, how can the fish inhale? Well, it needs to open up its mouth. So let's say this is the mouth of the fish. It will open up its mouth. And when it opens up its mouth, it basically lowers down the buccal cavity. Where is the buccal cavity? The buccal cavity is around this area. Yep, this area. It will be lowered. At the same time, the opercular cavity enlarges, right? The space inside this area enlarges. What happens when the space enlarges? The volume increases. How about the pressure? Pressure will drop. When the pressure drops, it enables water to go in, right? Higher atmospheric pressure outside will push the water in. When the water is pushed in, it washes the gills. At the same time, the operculum is closed. Yep. And how can gaseous exchange occur? It occurs through counter current exchange. And what does it mean by this counter current exchange? Because as water flows over the gills in one direction, the blood actually flows in the opposite direction through the blood capillary in the lamella. That means, right, when the water from outside comes into the opercular cavity and washes the gills, this is the flow of water. You will see that the flow of the blood inside the gills is opposite the flow of water, and this is what we call counter current exchange. This will actually increase the concentration gradient in the blood capillary, and it allows the diffusion of oxygen into the blood to take place. Okay, that means the water that comes in is highly oxygenated. When it passes through the gills that is flowing in the opposite direction, the blood inside the gills is lesser in oxygen, right? So one side has higher content of oxygen, the other side have a low content of oxygen. It creates a higher concentration gradient. And with a higher concentration gradient, diffusion can occur faster. When diffusion occurs faster, it makes the mechanism more effective. Okay? And how about exhalation? Let's add in one more. During inhalation, the mouth opens, right? But during exhalation, the mouth closes. When the mouth closes, the buccal cavity is raised. And when the buccal cavity is raised, the opercular cavity means the space in the mouth will be lesser, right? The space in the mouth will be lesser. Therefore, the volume decreases. When volume decreases, what happens to pressure? Increases. And this increased pressure will push the water out from the operculum. So water will come out through the operculum. So the flow is in one direction.